Today I'm with Bree. Bree, how long have you been using blues? You talked earlier, you're telling me you're not homeless, but you do blues once in a while. So when did that start?
About a year ago, I want to say roughly. What was it? Back in November of last year is when I started.
So you're coming up on a year?
Yes.
And how did you get started with that? Who introduced you?
I was with my boyfriend at a motel one night, and a guy introduced us to them. He said that it might help, kind of mellow our mood out. We were both a bit anxious, and so he said it'd help, and I suppose to a certain extent it did, but it wasn't something that I was just constantly wanting to do.
And how many do you use per day? How many blues pills?
Per day, truthfully, I don't like to smoke by myself at all, so if I probably say maybe 2 or 3 a day, but that's with someone else or maybe 2 other people with me, honestly.
And why is it that you don't like smoking them by yourself? Are you scared?
I have seen the bad side. I've seen people OD on them and not come back from it, or just kind of it got a lot worse for them, and I don't want to end up like one of those kind of situations where I get the shakes because I don't have one or something. That's why I'd rather share them than to just do it myself.
So Bree, sometimes I've interviewed people and they'll tell me that they started 6 months ago and they don't look good. Like it took them really deep.
Wow. Yeah.
So for you, you're coming up on a year, but you still sound okay. You look okay. So what's the difference?
It's not a need for me. I'd say it's not something that I need to do. It's just something that I like to do occasionally. I don't need them to like get through the day like most people do, and I guess that's where we differ, because those guys are doing 5 or 6 in half of a day, and I'm barely doing 2 in a week sometimes, honestly. So I know how to limit myself or stop myself if need be.
So you're able to control it to a certain extent?
Absolutely.
More so than them?
Yeah, even when I smoke it, even I stop at a certain point. I won't hit it too hard or hold it in for too long or anything, and it does kind of give me a relaxing feeling, but it's not something that I want to just get high on and fall asleep, like a lot of these people tend to do. They pass out right afterward, and I don't need that in my life. That's not what I want for my life.
Do you ever plan on like completely being off of them?
Absolutely. I'm not homeless, but a lot of my friends out here are, and so I do end up finding myself in a situation. I'm hanging out with friends, and they'll ask, "Hey, do you want to hit this?" And sometimes I'll say, "Sure, why not?" Just because I'm there, and I guess that's a part of the peer pressure thing, which is something I'm old enough to know better than, but because I don't know, I guess I just choose to. I allow myself to, just to use, for whatever reason, I guess. Even if it is just to like calm down or something.
What's the youngest person you've seen out in the streets?
13, I want to say. There was a 13-year-old girl out, and it scared me. Her mom had been looking for her, and she just wanted to be out in the streets, which it's not good for you to just want to hang out and want to sleep on the ground, and and just, I don't know, it seems like it's fun and everything, to hang out with your friends and not have a curfew, but when you're so young and you have so much more to learn and to give back to this world, you shouldn't, I can't stand to see that kind of, that kind of situation going on where they're kids, not like barely teenagers. And, so yeah, 13 and then 18 after that. And their parents are still looking for them. They want them to come home, but these streets have a way of holding on to some of these people, and it's not a good. I'm out here because I want to help. I want to help them. I want to help as many people as I can get off of the streets and do better, or want to be better, truthfully.
Why do you think so many young people are drawn to this lifestyle or these pills?
Because it's an easier route than to go to school or to be held accountable or responsible, for anything. It's a lot easier to just escape from all of that and just say, I'd rather just go and get high. It seems like it's a lot easier, but give it a week and a lot of them will be crying, wishing that they were back home with their families. I assure you of that. A lot of them I have seen crying, wishing they were home with their families. So, yeah. But like I said, these streets have a way of holding on to you, and the people around you, they also have that same kind of pull.
And what advice would you give parents, that they see their young, their 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, they're starting to be rebellious and they want to hang out with their friends or try, to be cool, and what can they signals that can they look for to know that they're trying this lifestyle?
Well, the signals definitely would be the late nights and just sleeping at all hours of the day when you know that it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon kind of thing, or irritability, especially when it's just realizing that they haven't had a pill today. You notice certain things about them, like they become irrational at times because of this addiction that these pills do cause. And like I said, I do use them, but I'm not an addict like everyone, like all these people are. And I feel terrible for them because they need this, and they need this in their lives in order to function for the next day. But the advice I would say as far as to stop them from doing this is, for parents, talk to your kids not like they're kids, but treat them like they're adults, because I know when I was 12 and 13 years old, I did feel like I was a little older than I actually was, and I prefer to be talked to in such a manner. Speak to me like an adult, speak to me not like a child, but like someone who who understands the same dialect as you. And I think that if you can talk to me on the same level, then you might get a better response, rather than you're grounded or don't ever leave your house. You can't ever leave the house unless it's to go to school. I think that parents to try and treat their kids with more respect, and they would give them more respect and tell them things like, well, I did try this pill this one time, and then you can start a real conversation from there.
So, Bree, the purpose of me having these conversations, going out and talking to people like you, is to create prevention through awareness, right? Make people out there aware of, first off, what is blue, right? What's a pill? It's man-made, and it's really taking over our communities, and it's affecting a lot of young people. And unfortunately, the dosage is really off because these pills are made in somebody's backyard in the jungle out there in different countries, and it's full of chemicals and poisons, and sure makes you feel numb for a few minutes, 5, 10, 15 minutes, but then it's very dangerous, right? So through you sharing your story about what you're going through and how you're dealing with it and what you're witnessing out here, maybe this will help prevent somebody from trying it out there. By hearing your story, listening to you share your lifestyle, and what you see out here, I think that's going to be able to help our community. Okay, so that's something good that you're doing to really help people out there that are going to watch this. Okay, so but you seem very articulate, smart, and full of youth, and it'd be better if you weren't out here, at all,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
you understand that the dosage on these pills is off.
Yes.
There's no quality control.
Absolutely.
That's why you see people ODing out here, because they take one pill and the pill is just too strong. It's one pill, but there's 10
Yes.
10 pills in one.
Yes, I actually watched my boyfriend OD. He died doing blues, and you'd think that would be the thing that would stop me from doing them, but it actually that's what made me want to continue to do them, not because I'm self-destructive or I want to, end up with that same fate, but really is, like I said before, I stop myself at a certain point, I monitor, and I only hit to a certain extent, and it's really all because I want to know what kind there are out there, what different types, what kind of dosages there are, what it makes you feel like. I personally myself, I document all of these things, and granted, yes, it is a dangerous kind of task to actually be doing, but it's really all for, I want to know what it really is, what's happening, and why does this happen to certain people, and they happen to not make it, and other people skate on through, and they've been doing it for years and years, and I'm very curious myself, and so that's why I've just been, but as I said, recreationally, just kind of testing out and just seeing what everyone has to offer, because I'm very curious to see very curious to see where it all, like, where's that top, or I don't know, where do you go from that? I'm sorry if I'm rambling, but it's all for a purpose, truthfully. I've got my own documents myself, so it's all for a purpose.
So with that, purpose and what you're doing to document, I'm gonna wish you the best of luck with that. Please stay safe.
Absolutely. Oh, and I always carry Narcan with me, and that's one thing. And I don't just carry it for myself, but for everyone, all of the people around me, and just in case one day one of them happens to do too much or something terrible happens, I always want to be prepared, because the last thing that you want to do is to see somebody slip through,
Narcan is the drug that
it counteracts the overdose, and so mine is a kit, but there are some that are a lot easier, a one-step process. But Narcan is something that will inevitably, at the moment that you notice that someone is ODing, the first thing you do is pull out this kit, and you want to administer it as soon as possible.
Do you have the injections or the nasal?
Nasal.
Got it. So they sent me the injections. I have 3 of them.
Really?
Yep.
Oh.
So I carry that because I'm out here,
Exactly.
doing
You're
this.
out here doing the same thing. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's really admirable of you to do that, because you already saw it with your boyfriend.
Yeah.
And you probably didn't have anything back then, right?
I didn't
to counteract
at
that
all.
effect. And
Yeah.
so unfortunately he passed. So my condolences for your loss. And you don't want to lose any more friends, and I don't want to lose you out here either, because you're very articulate and smart, and the future is bright for you, and we want you to be there forever. Okay, so
Absolutely.
thank you very much for talking.
Absolutely.
We'll talk to you later, Bree. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.